Yeah, yeah, very cool, very cool. Everyone knows it takes a good staff behind you, like a very good operations staff to make a good team, a winning team. How do you feel about your operations staff?
Oh, it's unbelievable. As I said earlier, we have a limited budget, so we're not able to pay big dollars for salaries for our staff. But we have such a good group of people that are volunteering or working for well below what they could command elsewhere because they love the game, they love what we're trying to accomplish here. Our Vice President, Tom Dunmore, does an amazing job coordinating everything. And Greg Zaskowski, who heads up our ticket sales, has great experience with the Chicago Fire, Chicago Red Stars. He's run ticket sales departments in indoor soccer in Detroit, outdoor soccer in Salt Lake, and he does a great job. Mario Ortega runs our travel and our bookkeeping. We have a volunteer that takes care of our merchandise. We've got a webcast department that is all done for limited dollars.
Yeah.
They're not only hardworking and talented, but they do it for the passion, for the love of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Much like our players. Our players could all be making a lot more money doing other things, to tell you the truth. But they love what they're doing, they love being competitive, and make the sacrifices necessary to make this work.
Okay, yeah. What do you feel separates the Chicago Riot from the rest of the teams in the league?
We operate in a different, I think because of the budgets, really. Our players, frankly, are compensated about a third of some of the top teams in the league because of the fact we are league-owned, we don't have the big budgets. It creates... It's a real bond. I mean, it brings them together. It's kind of like us against them.
Yeah.
And I think the whole organization has this roll-up-your-sleeves, do-it-yourself attitude that gives us, in some ways, a real advantage and a fighting attitude. And I think that's a big difference between us and the rest of the league.
Yeah, you mentioned the players of the team. How do you feel? Like who would be a key player on this team? Like any key players that
it's Fred DeGan, our team captain, is a great leader. He's experienced. He's played in the league for many years with Cleveland, the old Chicago Storm, the Rockford Rampage, and he's got a regular 9-to-5 job with Northwestern Mutual Life.
Yeah.
He comes out here afterwards and he trains with the team, and he's a vocal leader, plus he leads by example.
Yeah.
He's a talented player.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that, again, could be making more money doing other things, but he's got a passion for this, and he makes a difference.
Yeah. How do you usually find your team members?
We're very fortunate that our head coach, Jeff Kraft, has a great background in indoor soccer. He coached the team in Rockford the last few years and had good relationships with many of the players he was successful with there and was able to bring them in. We're also fortunate that Chicago, being such a great international city, has a great pool of talent that may not originally be from Chicago, maybe from other places in the world. We've had players this year from Guatemala, Croatia, Serbia, but Chicago is now their home. And there's a pool of experienced professional indoor players throughout the United States that we know of that we're able to call upon.
So the process of recruitment, how would you describe that?
It's a lot of it is relationships and networks, and it's all done. Most of it is done in the off season before the season started. We had 35 days before we knew when we had to play our first game. So most of that was just taking the team that was existing in Rockford, bringing them together, publicizing that we'd have some open tryouts. We actually signed a couple players from that open tryout, got the word out through the Odium to the adult teams that were playing here, and got the best of the best to play with us.
Okay, very cool. How long do you think the team members will stick with the team? Like, do you guys kind of rotate them differently, or?
Yeah, the roster is a 20-person roster. Each game you can suit up 15 of those 20. Over the course of this year, we've had under contract about 25. So there's been some turnover, not a ton, but there's some. In indoor soccer, it's really a different sport than outdoor soccer, so it takes a special skill and experience in playing indoor soccer to get really good at it. So what you'll find is that most of the best teams have experienced players that have played a number of years. And that's true with us as well. More than half of our team has played at least 5 or 6 years of professional indoor soccer.
Very cool, very cool, very cool. Where do you hope to take the Chicago Fire in the future?
Oh, the Riot?
The Chicago Riot, I'm sorry, Chicago Riot.
It's often confused with that. I actually ran the Chicago Fire for 8 years.
Oh, really?
And we have a partnership with the Chicago Fire. They promote us and we promote them as well. The Riot, we hope to make a mainstay of Chicago's sporting options. I think it's a good alternative in the winter to some of the other options. It's certainly more affordable than going to a Bulls game or a Blackhawks game.
Yeah, definitely.
Parking is free. Tickets start at $10. So you can afford to take the family and not have a hole in your wallet.
Right.
We do need new ownership if we're going to stick around. We're league funded. So we're talking to several candidates. If we can put that together, we'll be around for years to come.
Very cool, very good. Where can people contact you or the staff, or even just get their own tickets online?
Sure. Online is the easiest place. Our website is www.ChicagoRiotSoccer.com.
Okay.
ChicagoRiotSoccer.com.
Okay. ChicagoRiotSoccer.com.
And we have 3 home games left after today.
Okay.
February 13th, February 26th, and February 27th.
Great, great. Everyone, I hope that you guys all come out to see the Chicago Riot play here at the Odeum in Villa Park. Today being the Super Bowl, who against the Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who would you kind of be rooting for?
A little bit of history there. My dad's from the south side of Chicago and grew up a Chicago Cardinals fan.
Okay,
I don't know if you know, there was a Chicago Cardinals played at Comiskey Park, and the Bears played at Wrigley Field back when he was a kid and when I was a kid. And so he grew up a Cardinals fan. When they moved to St. Louis, he did not become a Bears fan because he still hated the Bears. When he was a kid, he hated the Bears. He was a Cardinals fan. He was a Southsider. So when I was growing up, my dad taught me to hate the Bears. And I didn't realize this, but I thought he was a Packer fan because he hated the Bears. I was 13 years old before I realized he didn't really like the Packers. He just hated the Bears. It was too late. By that point, I was a Packer fan. So for most of my life, over 40 years, I was a Packer fan. So you would think today I'd be rooting for the Packers. But I had a real problem with the way that the Packer management treated Brett Favre towards the end of his stay with the Packers. And I now am a man without a team. Although I tell people I'm a Chicago Cardinals fan and my team hasn't lost a game in 50 years. So I guess all things being equal, I'd probably support the Steelers in today's game.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Some more of the black and yellow. Very good.
They're against the green and gold.
Very good. Today being the 40th president's 100th birthday, how did you feel about Ronald Reagan being in office when he was in office?
Well, a political question. I'm a liberal, so my political leanings are certainly opposite of the spectrum of his, but I respect a lot of the things he did for our country, not the least of which was usher in the end of some of the communist rule in the Eastern Europe. And I think it's also important, a lesson today for governmental officials, politicians, that he worked with both parties to get things done. And I think that's something that's missing today. So I would like to think that would be a legacy of his. Would be embraced by politicians today, that they would try to work for their constituency more than for their party.
Right. Okay, good. Very awesome. Very awesome. Well, Mr. Peter Wilt, I'm very glad you were able to...
Thanks, Arthur.
I was able to ask you a few of these questions. Again, you can check him out at www.ChicagoRiotSoccer.com. And we're here at the Great Odeum in Villa Park. Please come out to see them again. What are the next games you guys play?
February 13th and 26th are 2 Sunday games at 7 o'clock. And February 26th. So 13th, 26th, and 27th. The 26th is a Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Okay, awesome. Hope to see you all there. We'll be coming back as well to do a couple more interviews, if you don't mind. We also have our radio show on 88.7 FM WRSE at Elmhurst College. We'd love to have you on there as well.
I'd be honored. Thank you, Arthur.
Thanks again. This has been Good Times Friday Radio TV. Thanks again. You can check out this interview at www.tomorrowsalliance.com, and we will see you in a little bit. Thanks.